Hello, this is Keith, welcoming you to the Enfield Talking newspaper. The readers this week are Janet, Sally, Colin and Keith, with Robin on the controls. The editor was Janet. Our title music is Country Rock Polka, composed by Pat Prilly, Ferdinand Bouillon and Harry Breur, and is performed by Jean-Jacques Perry. It's used with his kind permission. The local news stories that we will be reading come from our local newspapers, the Enfield Gazette and Advertiser and the Enfield Independent, under their copyright. The events information has been collated by us from other sources. We have no special news items and notices this week. Do get in touch with us to share your own news and special announcements. We love to hear from you. Now Janet will read the first item of local news.
Woman's escape as tree topples over into garden. A 76-year-old woman is counting her blessings after a brush with death when a giant tree crashed down into her back garden during Storm Doris. Margaret Orchett, who had been out when the 50-foot tree on land occupied by a housing scheme for ex-servicemen and women at the back of her home in Shooters Road, Enfield, was brought down by gale force winds. The grandmother said it was fortunate she had not been using the tumble dryer kept in the garage at the time, because she would have been out crossing the garden to get to it and could have been crushed to death. Thankfully, I'd been collecting my grandson from college, but I was shocked when I saw the damage it has caused, she said. Her next-door neighbour, Anne Preston, had been in the lounge at the back of her home when she heard one almighty crash. She said, I could see the tree had landed in Margaret's garden and her back fence had been flattened. She said it wasn't the first time the row of trees backing onto their properties had fallen into back gardens. One had crashed down on her conservatory in 1987, and another fell into her garden, smashing the fence 3 years ago. Hague Housing, landlords of the scheme providing affordable homes for military veterans, said that although they no longer had access to records more than 30 years ago, it was most likely the tree came down during the Great Storm in 1987, and added that the trees had been surveyed in 2014. Mrs. Orchett said she had raised concern with Hague that the tree at the bottom of her garden was rotten. Hague said they carried out regular inspections on their property and grounds, including necessary maintenance work on trees, and had trimmed the branches in 2014. Responding to concerns from Mrs. Orchett that delays in repairing her fence was an open invitation to burglars, Hague said their grounds maintenance contractor would be assessing the damage. Once it had been completed, we will be in a better position to assess any further repairs deemed necessary, said a spokesman. He added that Hague would liaise with Mrs. Orchett and refer additional repair work to their insurance companies.
Right. Football, Town lose late on. No improved Lowestoft luck. Enfield Town's fourth attempt to win a league match at Lowestoft Town's Crown Meadow ended in disappointment with a 2-1 defeat in the Ryman Premier Division. Town had the early possession with Dernal Winter bursting through, but his touch took him wide and his attempted cross was turned behind for a corner. A Ryan Jarvis free kick was pushed round the post by Enfield's Nathan MacDonald in the 10th minute. Chance after chance fell for both sides, but it was the Towners who took the lead just after the half-hour mark. A shot from Carl O'Liddy was handled inside the box by Trawler Boys skipper Ross Jarvis, and referee James Turner had no hesitation in pointing to the spot. Billy Crook tucked away the penalty beyond Jake Jessop's outstretched right hand. Town's Tyler Campbell looked to make it 2-0 when he burst through into a central position. The ball ended up close to the goal line, but somehow managed to stay out of the net. Before the break, Harry Baker got back to clear an Oliedi effort before Winter subsequently hit the woodwork. Lowestoft came out for the second period in a determined mood, and the home side drew level in the 62nd minute. Jake Reed lobbed the ball over MacDonald, but it bounced up onto the bar. The ball was only half cleared, and Nico Cotton reacted first to score. The visitors had the next opportunity when Mickey Parcell played the ball to Harry Ottaway, but Travis Cole was alert and cut out the danger. Jarvis had a chance to grab the winner but shot over the bar. Instead, it was the home side who scored a decisive second goal in the 87th minute in fortuitous circumstances, when a hopeful cross from the left was deflected and the wind took it over MacDonald into the top corner. Town kept pressing in the brief time remaining, and after Jessup had gathered a dangerous Campbell cross, another good move ended with a great chance for Mark Kirby, but the skipper's shot went agonisingly wide. Enfield face Havant and Waterlooville next at the Queen Elizabeth Stadium. The club are also supporting the Women at the Game initiative by offering all women and girls free admission to the match to mark International Women's Day, Wednesday, March the 8th. The idea, started by Jackie Forster, is to give women their first taste of live football in a supportive and friendly environment, or to create a friends group for women to attend a game together.
Tributes paid to pioneer travel agent. Entrepreneur loved his business. A pioneering entrepreneur who set up one of the first black travel agencies has died. Everton Forbes died of a heart failure on January the 6th, aged 83, and is survived by his wife Phyllis, children Denise, Dawn and Everton Jr., and grandchildren. His travel and shipping business prospered by arranging charter flights to the Caribbean, catering for the demand of West Indian British nationals to go home on holiday. He created Everton Forbes Travel at his home, when banks would lend to black businesses, and continued to develop his organisation against rising business rates, growing competition and ill health. Business Secretary of the African Caribbean Leadership Company, Eric Bryson, said, even after he had a stroke and then lost a leg, he kept going. Business was what he knew, and he was a leading pioneer in his field without any shadow of a doubt. Everton and his twin brother Archie were born in Black River, St Elizabeth, Jamaica on March 22nd, 1933, to parents David and Louise Forbes. He was one of 3 sets of twins and 16 siblings in total. In 1959 he married student nurse Phyllis, settled in Enfield and became his own boss in 1968.
Pupils twist and shout about New Crossing. Children recreated the iconic Beatles' Abbey Road album cover to celebrate the opening of a new zebra crossing. The crossing, near outside Broomfield School, New Southgate, will help stem the flow of traffic and make it safer for pupils. Peter Travis, head teacher, said, Broomfield School has been working with Enfield Council for some time to help improve road safety in the local area. The crossing is near the A406 North Circular Road, where cars zoom past while pupils aged 3 to 19 years old try to cross. Mr. Travis added, Wilmer Way is a fast-moving road, as many cars leave the A406 at speed, and we really needed a safe and visible crossing that not only pupils and parents can use, but indeed the whole community. We are really delighted that it is now in place, and we hope everyone will come together and use this crossing. Councillor Aoife Oren, who is responsible for education at Enfield Council, said, back in 1969, when the Beatles were photographed in Abbey Road, there were a lot less cars around than there are now, so road safety is now higher than ever on the agenda. The safety of our students is a top priority. Not only will this zebra crossing allow staff, pupils and other residents to cross this road safely, but it will help to slow traffic on this busy residential road. Councillor Daniel Anderson said, "I am always ready to twist and shout about our road improvements. I am especially glad that this new zebra crossing was something that we could deliver. Enfield Council has implemented a number of road safety schemes such as 20-mile-per-hour speed limits, parking restrictions and other traffic calming measures around schools."
Students go green to tackle traffic pollution. Clean air for Haringey, visit college. Students are backing a campaign to reduce air pollution so children have a nicer world to grow up in. Pupils from the College of Haringey, Enfield and North East London have put pen to paper to pledge their support to a petition to reduce traffic pollution in Haringey. Clean Air for Haringey is part of a national campaign by Friends of the Earth and calls for an end to diesel use in UK roads by 2025, support for drivers to use cleaner alternatives and better public transport. Quinton Given and Yvonne Spyro from the Tottenham and Wood Green branch of the environmental group visited the college as part of Green Week. Student Chanel Camp, 17, who signed the petition, said, "I used to live in Hertford. You can definitely tell the air is fresher there than in London. The pollution here has made my nose burn and given me a migraine. My mum and 2 brothers both have asthma, and I have also seen how much the pollution affects them, so it's important that something is done." Student and mother of 4, Sarah Barkinell, 30, added, "We all need to do our bit to help the environment. I do recycle at home and try to teach the kids about it so they have a much nicer world to grow up in." As well as encouraging students to sign the petition, the Environment Group also gave a presentation and held a workshop on traffic pollution and other green issues, including carbon emissions, global warming and deforestation to provide land to grow soya for cattle feed.
A warm welcome. The welcome mat was put down by worshippers at an Enfield mosque in a bid to dispel suspicion about Muslims and help residents gain a better understanding of their faith. The public, both non-believers as well as members of other religions, were invited inside Enfield Mosque in Ponders End to look around, chat with some of the worshippers and learn about Islam in a special exhibition. The aim was to build bridges with the community and challenge ill-founded perceptions that some may have of Muslims based on media stories. There is this misconception about Muslims due to media coverage of extremists who are not representative of most Muslims, and Imam Muhammad Uddin, one of the mosque's holy leaders. Islam is a peace-loving religion, and so are the vast majority of UK and Enfield Muslims. And all we are saying is, don't believe all you read, come and see for yourself. Some mistakenly think that Muslims don't believe in Jesus. But he is a prophet in our religion, and so you can't be a Muslim unless you do believe in him. Inviting the wider community into our mosque to give us all the opportunity to understand each other better and to build bridges will hopefully make our community more resilient against division and hate, whoever the victims of that may be. The mosque has stood on its present site since 1981, and more than 1,500 Muslims worship there each week. Visitors were able to experience the 5 times a day prayer sessions held at the mosque, as well as the exhibition of fascinating artifacts charting the history of Islam. The invitation to visit the mosque and the exhibition was also extended to the borough's schools. Dignitaries, councillors, MPs, faith leaders and businessmen, as well as police officers, were also invited to collaborate and work together for charity and the community.
Full steam ahead for new power plant. Waste conversion will carry on as existing site is replaced. A huge new plant that turns waste into energy has been approved for the borough. Greg Clark, the Secretary of State for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy, has given the green light for the North London Waste Authority to build a new energy recovery facility at Edmonton Eco Park in Advent Way. Now that development consent order has been approved, the North London Waste Authority, which is made up of 14 councillors from 7 London boroughs, including Enfield, Barnet and Haringey, will consider the decision and any conditions included at a meeting in April. Clyde Lokes, the chairman of the North London Waste Authority, said, "I'm delighted that the Secretary of State has granted the DCO for a new energy recovery facility. This puts the authority in the best possible position to consider the scheme in the round and secures the best way of managing North London's non-recyclable waste long term. The new energy recovery facility, to be built on a 38-acre site, will replace the existing one before it reaches the end of its lifespan in 2025, so it can continue to turn waste into energy, heat and power. Following the development of the plans, work could start as early as 2019. The existing plant would be decommissioned and demolished once the new facility is up and running by 2028. As well as the new plant, there will be a recycling centre open to the public from 2021 and a visitors centre where people can find out more about waste, recycling, heat and power."
Hear your poetry read aloud online. An online poetry library will give readers a chance to hear their favourite prose spoken aloud. Poetic Voices Live has been created by Enfield Poets Society member Anthony Fisher in a bid to archive the poems, video and audio files of various poets from both the past and the present. Anthony, who helped set up Enfield Poets in 2000, believes poems on a page have some permanence, but meanings of poems may change when they are spoken. He explains that although written poems exist in books and on websites, they are rarely accessible in their audio form. As a result, he wanted to offer a platform which unites poets of all kinds from all over the world. He says a poem changes when voiced, especially when they are listened to by an audience. I thought it would be a good idea to create an archive website for all poets with photos, a biography and recordings, and so Poetic Voices Live was born. It's in its early stages and will evolve, but has a good selection of poets and recordings already, including Enheduanna, who wrote in about 2300 BCs, but her words are spoken by another person. To find out more or to submit your poetry audio files live, visit poeticvoices.live. I'll give you that site again, that website. It's poeticvoices.live.
It's a short little message which I think is very heartwarming. A charity has donated £10,000 to a project to build a new garden at Chase Farm Hospital. The money was given by the Masonic Charitable Foundation, which will help build a therapeutic care garden. It will include 1960s post-war stimulants to help stir memories for dementia patients, as well as give stroke patients a calm place to recover. The group now only has £10,000 left to raise for its £120,000 target.
Back row are hailed as Saracens return to winning ways. Director of Rugby Mark McCall hailed Saracens' back row after watching his side return to winning ways by beating visiting Sale 29-18 in the Aviva Premiership. The reigning champions went into the match having suffered successive league defeats for the first time in almost 2 years, but they put this behind them with a much improved display which featured tries from fit again Duncan Taylor, making his first Premiership start of the season, Chris Ashton and Nathan Earle. But while being pleased with the performance of the entire team, McCall was particularly impressed with the efforts of 2 of the back row, Joel Conlon, who was named man of the match on his full league debut, and the ever-reliable Jackson Ray. Joel has been a bit injury-plagued since he came to us from Exeter, he said. When we watched him play for England under-20s, we knew he was an outstanding player. He instinctively gets the game and has always been a great carrier. I thought he defended superbly as a 7 out there. He just needed a chance, and he got his chance, and he took his chance, which is great. Jackson was magnificent, a real shining light. How physical he was with his carrying, how physical he was with his defence. He looked like an international player. We're really pleased with the attitude of the players and how physical we were. I thought all 3 tries were outstanding. The first try was well executed. The second try was brilliant play by Richard Wigglesworth to spot the gap, and Ashton's finish was good, and the third try came after we had not really touched the ball for 25 minutes. We got our one opportunity and we were able to execute. Saracens go to Newcastle next, and McCall is expecting a tough test from a side who have been in fine form at their own ground. He added, "We've got a really tough game against Newcastle, who are looking pretty formidable. Again, they are a team with no international players away, but we'll be buoyed what happened here. If we show that kind of effort and skill as well, and execute in attack, then we'll give them a good game."
Youngsters' artwork goes down a storm. Proud primary school pupils braved high winds to unveil their artwork presented on the hoardings of a huge regeneration site as Storm Doris took hold. While work gets underway on the Ponders End regeneration project, residents can admire vibrant paintings of the new housing and what was the former Alma estate on the boards around the perimeter of the site. Pupils from 3 primary schools, St Matthew's and Oasis Academy Hadley, both in South Street, and Alma Primary in Alma Road, took part in the project last year, aimed at displaying the new and old sites to represent the development of the area. Samira, 9, from Alma Primary, said, "We worked as a team and painted the new flats so people can see what they will look like. The paintings of the old flats will also remind people how they looked and show them what a great place Enfield is." 10-year-old Ridwan from Alma Primary added, "It's really exciting because lots of people can see our artwork and it makes me feel famous." The regeneration is a joint partnership between Enfield Council and Countryside housing developers. Helen Thomas, head teacher at Alma Primary, praised the project and the children's hard work. "We've received positive comments from parents and pupils about the project and how lovely it looks," she said. "We are very much looking forward to working collaboratively with Countryside on other projects throughout the regeneration of the local area." Ahmed Okana, the Council's Cabinet Member for Housing and Housing Regeneration, who was among guests at the unveiling ceremony, said, "The young people have all contributed such wonderful artwork, which really enhances the site. This artwork will be a great source of inspiration for everyone, reminding locals of Ponders End's history and its exciting prospects for the future."
An Edmonton woman, Josephine, joins the pension protests as among thousands who joined a march to protest over changes to the state pension age. Josephine Richards, 62, is one of many women born in the 1950s who will have to wait a year longer or more before they can receive their state pension. government changes have gradually increased the state pension age for women from 60 to 65. It will increase to 66 by 2020. She said she wanted to represent the voice of Edmonton and echo women's thoughts that the changes have been introduced far too quickly, preventing them from preparing for the future financially. I want to raise awareness of the changes to the women of Edmonton and let them know there's an action group fighting for them, she said. She's urging the government to revise the proposals and help these women struggling and living on the breadline. The government decided to make the changes as average life expectancy for men and women is going up. Edmonton MP Kate Asmaro slammed the government for imposing changes. She said it insults the contribution women have made. After a lifetime of hard work, raising families and paying taxes, millions of women have had their retirement plans shattered. She added that they had not been given sufficient time to make alternative arrangements for retirement.
Mammoth Task meets with students' approval. Primary school pupils were treated to a rare glimpse of an archaeological dig where ancient artefacts were recovered on an Enfield site which had had a planning application suspended. The dig was part of an archaeological survey carried out to determine whether artefacts from the Mesolithic period, about 280,000 years ago, were buried beneath the Prince of Wales open space next to River Lee Navigation Canal in Enfield Loch. Year 5 youngsters from Prince of Wales Primary School in Salisbury Road, Enfield Loch, watched the dig taking place as various artefacts were uncovered during excavation, including tools thousands of years old. The planning application to turn the site into a wetland to create a wildlife sanctuary and an area for the community had been suspended by Enfield Council. A 2-day survey was conducted on the site by members of the Enfield Archaeological Society together with the Museum of London Archaeology earlier this month. Recent finds near the site have included a mammoth's tusk and flint tools. Work on the Prince of Wales Wetlands project is expected to start soon. This dig has been a wonderful opportunity for the school children to learn about ancient Enfield, said Aoife Oren, the Council's Cabinet Member for Education, Children's Services and Protection. Looking to the future, the creation of a new wetland area will not only make the space a haven for local residents, it will also create a wonderful facility for school children to help enhance their education, learn about climate change, flood prevention and wildlife. We see this as a fascinating manner in which to enhance their learning, she added. Jan Bless, the head teacher at Prince of Wales Primary School, said that the development would be a good opportunity for students because they would have a mini woodland just on their doorstep.
We've reached the end of our programme for this week. Thank you for listening. So from the team of Janet, Colin and Keith and Robin on the controls, it's goodbye. Bye. Please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet, put the memory stick into the packet and return it to us as soon as possible, in readiness for the next edition. Don't forget you can call Diane de Jersey regarding any help you may require in connection with Enfield Talking Newspaper on 020 8805 6578. Coming up next, the latest news and information for the Greater London area from InfoSound. The Enfield Talking Newspaper will be with you again in 1 week's time.